Hello and welcome to episode 69 of the Victorian Studio podcast. My name is Maureen and I'm coming to you from my studio here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Thank you so much for popping by and visiting with me today. I hope you enjoy seeing what I have to share. I'll have some knitting as well as some polymer clay sculpting to show you today. I'll be drawing for 3 prizes from the entries in our Harry Potter knit-along going on in the Victorian Studio podcast group over on Ravelry. So if you aren't yet a member of that Ravelry group, head over, and if you're going to plan to do any Harry Potter knitting using either Harry Potter themed yarn or pattern or anything you can convince us is out of the Harry Potter universe, please join us. It's been a lot of fun. It's been wonderful to see everybody's entries and all the chatter that's been going on. It's really been amazing. So we have entries from January to the end of July that are going to be eligible for the 3 prizes today. At the end of each month, I like to give away a few of the smaller prizes, as well as every quarter giving away larger prizes such as yarn and bags and that kind of thing. So if you're interested in joining us, please do. Let's see. Also, over the last little while, I've been busy working on my Etsy shop. If you've been here before, you know that about a month or so ago, I opened up a store on Store Envy and had a couple of sales through there. But I thought that if people were more comfortable working through Etsy, I would also divide my inventory up and sell a few items over on Etsy as well. And I've been just blown away by the orders over there, so much so that I've sold out of a few items. So over the last little while, I've been busy restocking, and I'll show you what I've been making to restock some of the current designs that I have up there. As well as I've been playing around and creating some new designs, and some especially for the fall time that hopefully is coming along very soon. I'm looking forward to the cooler weather. But I thought since Michael's and all of those craft stores are already having their Halloween inventory out, I thought I would do some stitch markers and progress keepers for the fall season as well. So I'll show those a little bit later in the episode. Over the last little while, let's see, it was not this past weekend, but the weekend before, hubby and I took a little trip out of town, and that was to visit with his old schoolmates out of town for their 40th anniversary of their graduating grade 12 class. Yeah, he graduated in 1977. I graduated in 1978. But he went to a smaller school out of town, just north of Winnipeg. And so we had a wonderful time going out and seeing everybody again. It was just great. We had a whole day at the beach off of Lake Manitoba, and it was beautiful. And in the slideshow that I always end my episodes with, I'll be sure to add some photos and video of our time at the beach. It was just beautiful out there. But it was so wonderful seeing everybody again. Not only, of course, did hubby know these people, but I knew most of them as well because a lot of them joined us on the European trip back in 1976, when my school paired up with his school, and the travel agency put us together for a school trip over to Europe. And so I knew a lot of these his schoolmates from the Europe trip as well. So it was wonderful seeing everybody again, and we had a really, really good time. So that was quite a day. And on the way out there, we also visited his old farm. Hubby used to have a sheep farm. His parents had the sheep farm. He was there as well, and they had a big barn and hundreds of sheep, and a big house that they built themselves. And so when we went there, it was weird to see all the changes. Obviously, in the past 40 years, things have changed a lot. But neither he or his mother have seen it for many, many years. And when we made our way out there, we were able to find it again because it's so rural that the roads a lot of them aren't even named. So we did find it, no problem. Unfortunately, there was nobody home, but the gate was open, so we just drove in and took a few pictures, and hubby got to walk around. Unfortunately, the big barn that they had built is no longer there. It's not being used as a farm anymore. It looks like it's just being used as a residence. Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet to see it. Amazing to see the house again. But it was too bad that mostly everything, all the hard work that they had done many, many years ago to turn it into a farm, it's all just gone back to nature again. So that was interesting to see. So yeah, we had a nice day though. We started out driving right into a very bad storm, unfortunately. But by the time we got out there, it was a beautiful day, and yeah, we had a really nice evening. We only stayed until about midnight or so, and then we drove home again. But it was wonderful to see everybody again. So, and I hope we'll just stay closer in touch with many of the people once more. So yeah, that was really wonderful. So I took my knitting out there. Because I thought we would just be sitting around talking, and so, I had to make sure I had some knitting with me to keep myself busy, and I didn't even get a chance to take it out. That's, what a good time we had. I didn't even get any knitting done while we were there. So I did find out, though, a couple of the ladies there do knit, so I was telling them all about Ravelry and everything. So hopefully they'll learn more about it and join Ravelry as well. So let's see, speaking of knitting, I guess I'll just get right to the projects I've been doing. One of the projects you've seen before, the socks that I've been doing, I really haven't done that much on. I was hoping to get them finished by this week, but with all the things with my shop and everything, I just didn't have time to work on them very much, so I'm not even going to bother showing them to you. I'm sure they'll be done by next episode. I hope so anyway. I'm down to just doing the toe decrease on both of those polyjuice socks, so I won't bore you with showing just a little bit that I've accomplished on those. But I did want to share with you three projects that were smaller projects, but I have started and completed them since I last recorded. And all three were for classes in July for the Harry Potter Knit and Crochet House Cup. So again, as I've said before, it's been a great impetus to get little projects done. It's been a lot of fun to find designs and yarns to fit the prompts that they put out. And now that it's August, it's break month, and what they call the spring term that started in May and ended in July is now over. And starting in September, we will start the winter term. So it'll be September, October, November, and then December is another break month. So I'll speak more about that a little bit later. But I'll start with the first project that I did for one class. And let's see, this was for, I think it was for astronomy class. And the prompt was to do something either in yellow, in cotton, or representing the sun. And I was able to find a project that fit all three of those prompts. So that was a lot of fun. I went to Michael's and picked up some more of the Bernat cotton yarn. So I was able to do a few of the projects I'm going to show you today. So this first one for astronomy is called the Painted Sun Washcloth. I don't have a picture for you because this I had to go to, I think, a third party off Ravelry to print it out. But I can show you a picture from their pattern page here on what it looks like. So the Painted Sun Washcloth, let's see, is a free pattern by Brian McGaughan. And it was very interesting to do because this is a round washcloth, as you saw. And it's the first time that I've actually done a circular one. So as I mentioned, here's the Bernat cotton yarn that I used for this. And this is called Pale Yellow. And I didn't use quite the whole 50-gram skein of that. Let's see, I did write down how much actually it took. I only used 27 grams. So if I really took a chance I could probably get a second washcloth, maybe not the same design, but something smaller out of the remaining yarn that I have here. And I was using US 7s or 4.5 millimeter needles. And here is the finished washcloth. It's kind of hard to show you when it's not flat. I'll put pictures again at the end of the episode. But this was a really interesting design to do. You start in the middle and work your way out, and I love the circular pattern, the design, and also something very new to me. I've done picot edges before, but nothing quite like this edge, where you pick up stitches as you go around to finish the whole thing off. Really love how this turned out, although I didn't love it when I was doing it. When I first started this, it probably took me about 4 tries to, even though it was nothing to do with the pattern, it was just me trying to figure out what was happening in doing this picot edge. And once I got it, then it went quite quickly, but I swear I tore it out about 3 times. But I'm glad it finally worked out, and yeah, and I entered it in on the astronomy class over at the House Cup. So yeah, that was a nice little project. Only took probably a day to do. So that was project number 1. The second one that I did for July was for Consumer and Family Science, it's called. And this month they had, or in July last month, they wanted you to do something to do with baking and to make something to protect your hands against the heat. So many people did oven mitts and pot holders and that kind of thing. So I thought I would do one as well. And what I decided to do was just a flat piece of material that I could fold over, so I would use it kind of like a heating pad or an oven mitt. And I wanted to keep it simple because I had been pretty busy that month, and I didn't want to take too much time making 2 large mitts. Maybe in the future I'll do some, but for this past month I didn't have time to do that. So instead I found a pattern on Ravelry I thought was really intriguing, and it was actually a pattern for a cup cozy. But what I liked about it is the way the design was. It created a gingham pattern in the colors that you chose. And so this is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's called the Gingham Cup Cozy. Even though this pattern says cup sleeve, it's actually called on Ravelry the Gingham Cup Cozy. And this is by Sherry Kibler. And as I said, it's a free pattern. And it's one that you can use for many items. You can, she says here in the back, you can use it for placemats and baskets, napkin holders, all kinds of things. And so basically what I wanted to do was just use her design to create my little pot holder oven mitt. So what she recommends in the pattern is to make sure that you choose 3 colors that have a good contrast to them so that the gingham pattern will show up. And one of her suggestions was black, white, and gray. So when I went to Michael's to get the yellow yarn, I also made sure to pick up some gray because I already had black and white in my stash of the Bernat. But I also used this, and this is called Overcast. So this gray. So the 3 together would make a nice gingham pattern. And it was very interesting doing this pattern as you go along. It looks more difficult than it is. It was really a lot of fun to knit up because you really weren't using more than 2 colors for each row. And so here's my little pot holder. All I did was I just did a in the round so that it's really nice and thick, and flattened it out and stitched it up, and then folded over 1/3 of it and stitched it along the sides so that what I can do is then just slide my hand in and then use it to pick up pots or pans, that kind of thing. So yeah, that was a nice quick quick knit, but I really love the gingham pattern. The way that turns out is really neat. And so I can see myself using this pattern to make a few other things, I'm sure. So yeah, if you're interested in that, it's the gingham cup cozy, and I'll make sure that I link my Ravelry page. It is open to the public, so even if you're not a member of Ravelry, you'll be able to see my projects over there, and you'll see all the instructions and how I made this from a pattern that was actually a cup cozy. So yeah, a lot of fun to do that and to get some more points for Gryffindor House. The last knitting project that I wanted to share with you was for Quidditch. And Quidditch is an extracurricular activity that they have matches throughout the term. And this was the fifth and final Quidditch match. And the prompt this time was to create something using all 4 house colors. Well, I was so very lucky that if you've been here before, you've seen I was lucky enough to obtain some 4 Founders yarn from London House Yarns. And so 4 Founders are the actual houses over on Hogwarts for Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff. So it has all of the 2 colors for each house. So it goes through 8 colors. And so after I created those socks from that beautiful yarn, I had some left over, and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to make something using that yarn. So I was trying to think of, what could I make with the leftovers? And I was going through different patterns, and then I thought, what would look nice with, one day when I'm wearing my 4 Founders socks, but to make myself a 4 Founders tie. Now, I was known quite a bit back quite a few years ago at work for wearing a lot of men's ties. Back in, I guess, the 80s and 90s, I would wear very geeky ties. I had, of course, Star Wars ties, and I had Looney Tunes, and I had a Snoopy tie, all kinds of geeky ties I would wear. And I really love wearing ties with a nice crisp white shirt. And so I thought that would look so cool to have a 4 Founders tie. So I went on Ravelry to see what kind of patterns there were, and there was some that they were okay, but you just knit them flat, and I really wasn't thrilled with the rough edges that some of them had, or the way some of them curled up. And so what I did was I looked at the basic instructions for most of those patterns, how long they made them, how wide, that kind of thing, and kind of just winged it. I decided to start in the back part of the tie first of all. Now this is going to be a real tie that you tie in a real knot, I guess we'd call it a Windsor knot. And so I started at the back where you just start out a flat rectangle, and I decided to knit it in the round so to have nice, smooth and clean edges. And then I worked my way and would just try it on as I went to see how long I had to make it. And as I went to the front of the tie, I gradually increased it so it got wider and wider, and then finished it with at the point for the front of the tie. And I'm thrilled the way this turned out, and it used up most of my leftover yarn. So I don't have a pattern per se to share with you, but again, if you want detailed instructions on how I made it, it's on my project page. So this is all of the London House 4 Founders yarn that I have left. And this is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. So yeah, it worked out really well. And I love the way, because I was making this thinner than a pair of socks, the stripes on it were thicker than, because it's self-striping yarn. And also what I ended up finishing it up with was a pin that I found the weekend before. Daughter and I were at the mall, and one of the stores at the mall, I think it's called Pylon, has a fair amount of Harry Potter memorabilia, collectibles, that kind of thing. So I found a Hogwarts pin, and I thought that would make a great tie pin. So here's my tie. and it's going to be hard to show you here. Here's a picture of it on my mannequin that I put a white shirt on and then the tie to take pictures for my project page. So yeah, here's the actual tie. As I said, it's started out at the back. And I think I started out with maybe 24 stitches, again in the round. Then I just closed it up. So it's nice smooth edges on it, and it's the same both sides. Then I worked my way around, tried it on as I did it, and got wider at the front, as you can see, compared to the back. It widened just a bit, and then I finished off with just a point. So yeah, I was really pleased the way this turned out. I think it looks really cool on, and now that I've shown you, I might even maybe wear ties to work again and wear this one day at work. I wonder if anybody will really know what this is. If you're not familiar with the houses, the gold and red is Gryffindor, the silver and green is Slytherin, the black and yellow is Hufflepuff, and the beigey gray and blue is Ravenclaw. So I thought that was a great way to finish off Quidditch and to use up most of that yarn. So yeah, those were my projects for the Harry Potter House Cup. Now that the term is over, it's kind of sad, but it was a lot of fun to participate in those classes. And I've been doing the House Cup since January, when the last term started, like with the second last term. I've been through 2 terms now. And I was thrilled to find out just a few days ago that coming up for the next term, I guess it's the fall term that's coming up, I'm going to be on staff of Gryffindor House. So that's wonderful. So I'm going to be helping out with some new members, and also I'm going to be doing some graphics, badges, and that kind of thing for the classes and for our house. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I really love making the graphics and the badges and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm just thrilled that I'm no longer just a student. I'm actually going to be a Gryffindor House staff. So that's going to be a lot of fun this fall to help out over there. So I think that is all I have for knitting to share with you this episode. So let's see. I just make sure that there isn't anything else. I guess I can go right to, well, you know what? Let's do the prizes. Speaking of Harry Potter, for the Harry Potter knit along over on the Ravelry group. As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I'm going to draw for 3 prizes from all the entries from January to July 31st, and that was from posts over in the Rav group 2 to 2,198. Yeah, we're well over 2,200 posts in there. It's just amazing to me. And the first prize, I wanted to thank Christina, or Mama C on Ravelry. She was very generous, very kind, to offer to provide a $7 US Ravelry pattern prize for the podcast group. So thank you so much, Christina. It's so wonderful of you. And so that's the first prize I'm going to draw for today. And the winner, I went to random.org, and the winner was chosen post number 390, and that is Emma, M's Little Nest from New Zealand. So Emma, let me know when you've seen this, and I will pass on your information over to Christina, and she will provide you with a $7 US or less giftable Ravelry pattern. So congratulations, and thank you, Christina, again. The next prize I thought I would draw for is a Chocolate Frog Progress Keeper. And that's one of the ones that I've made. So here's the Chocolate Frog. And again, random.org chose from those same numbers, and this time it came up with post number 1183 Lucy, and that's Lucy over on Ravelry. So congratulations, Lucy. You have won the Chocolate Frog Progress Keeper. So let me know when you've seen this, and I'll get your address from you so I can mail that out to you. And the last prize I'm going to draw for today is some Stitch Markers and Progress Keeper set. This was the ones that I had made up before I started doing my sculpting. I gathered up a few different charms and created a set from Harry Potter related charms. There's a Progress Keeper that has an owl on it, 2 stitch markers with owls, and these have different colored rings on them. I have a cauldron, a Deathly Hallows symbol, a chess piece, and a lightning bolt. So that set is going to post number 1989, and that is D. That's Dee's notes on Ravelry. So congratulations, Dee. When you see this, please let me know, and I'll be sure to get that out in the mail to you. So congratulations to all 3 winners, and thank you again, Christina. And if you haven't won so far, no worries. At the end of August, I'll do some more drawings for smaller prizes. At the end of September, we'll have drawings for project bags and yarn and that kind of thing. So if you are entered, wonderful. Keep entering. There's no limit, no cap on how much you can enter. So just read all the instructions, all the rules on the Ravelry post over in the Victorian Studio podcast group. So that leaves us with, I guess, just talking about what I've been creating, speaking of stitch markers and progress keepers. The Etsy shop, as I said, is open and already sold out of a few items. So I have put a couple of things in there again that I've made over just the last few days. And I'll show those to you first, and then I'll show you what's going to be going up probably this weekend. So first of all, I think some of the most popular items over there seems to be the lemon pie, the chocolate cake, and the rubber duckies. So what I did was I decided when I remade these, I would make quite a few at a time. It's a lot easier than just making a few at a time. So I ended up making 2 chocolate cakes, 2 lemon meringue pies, and I think there's about 10 or so rubber ducks. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to do these. It takes a little bit of time, obviously, to do each one. First you have to use the polymer clay to sculpt the item, and then bake it, and then paint them and seal them and add the jewelry findings. So I'll take a few evenings or throughout the weekend to make these kind of items. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Once I get started, it's just been pretty easy just to continue on creating a whole bunch at a time. So I believe I've updated the Etsy shop with these ones. The pie, this time I've done just a little bit different listings for them. What I did was I'm running low. I've done, I've sent away for some more jewelry findings, but I'm going to have to run over to Michael's, I think, because I'm running low on actual jewelry findings, the lobster clasps that I use. So what I did for the pie, at least, and I may be doing that for some other listings, is putting either silver, gold, or brass fittings on them. And if I do that, I will list that in the shop, that you can choose which one that you want. So yeah, there's one with the gold lobster clasp, one with a silver one, and one with this antique brass style. And again, I'll have pictures at the end of the episode so you can see these a little bit better. And the cakes, I just was finishing up this evening, actually. I still have to seal these with Varathane. But yeah, I think these turned out okay. It's been a lot of fun to do these with the little red roses on the top. So yeah, so those, as soon as I seal those with some Varathane, they'll be ready to go as well. And for these ones, I've also added not only a lobster clasp, but they also have a larger ring, so you can use them both as a stitch marker or a progress keeper, so either way. So yeah, it's been fun doing those because now I know how to do them. They go a little bit faster, but I also wanted to do some new designs to add to the shop. So I'll show you those. And as I said, because I was in Michael's, I saw that they had their Limax, Halloween stuff out already, and all of the pumpkins and decorations and everything. So that got me in the mood to do a few fall-themed stitch markers, progress keepers. And if you've been here before, you saw that I had some pumpkins that I had done, and they had quite a delicate stem to them. I didn't post those onto the shop because I was concerned that those might break, although I have been using a set and they haven't broken on me. But what I thought I would do is do a few of the sets of the small, medium, and large pumpkins with the shorter stem, so they would be more sturdy. So I've got a few sets of those that'll be going up in the shop that are just regular pumpkins for fall. But I also just finished today, and unfortunately they're still drying. They're still hanging after being dipped in varathane. I did quite a few of just the large size pumpkins and drew some jack-o'-lantern faces on them, so they're more Halloween themed pumpkins. So I'll add a picture in at the end of the episode to show you those, but I just couldn't handle them because they're still wet, unfortunately, tonight. So that's two different types of pumpkins that will be going up in the shop. Also, I wanted to sculpt a ghost. And for years, I've been drawing the same ghost for our own decor at Halloween time. When my daughter was growing up, and I still use it to, I would, draw some, bats and ghosts and that kind of thing. And I always ended up drawing the same style ghost. So I thought it would be fun to actually sculpt this little guy and make a stitch marker out of him. So this is my little sculpture that I did. I know it's kind of hard to see. Again, there'll be pictures at the end. But I did this master sculpture of this little three-dimensional ghost. And then, as I've done before, I made a mold out of him. And then I molded out of that some of my stitch marker progress keepers. So I made 5 of them. I think I'll keep one. So I think 4, at least for now, will go up in the shop. But what's neat about these little guys is they were made using glow-in-the-dark Sculpey. And they really do glow in the dark. Here's a picture of them that I took just before I recorded today in our bathroom. I shut the door and you could see they really do glow in the dark. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. So if these sell out, I'll be able to make up some more. But yeah, glow in the dark Sculpey. So much fun to make these. And it was really neat to see that they actually do glow. So all they are is this Sculpey with their eyes painted in with black acrylic paint, and then again sealed with varathane. And they all have silver, both a ring and a lobster clasp on them. So that's the little ghosts. So that'll go along with the Halloween theme of the jack-o'-lanterns. And the last ones that I wanted to share with you is something else that I was wanting to do. I sculpted a baby style owl a little ways back, but really wasn't thrilled with how it turned out. I wanted to make something a little more smooth. So on the weekend, I also hand sculpted a new owl. And so I did that little guy. And again, made a mold out of him. And then made 3 copies so far. I'll probably keep one. And if people are interested in them, I can make more. But so far I have 3 of these little guys. So I've painted them more like I think a barn owl would be in the browns. And the eyes actually have glossy accents. They're all covered in varathane, but it's a matte varathane, so the glossy accents Might not show very well here, but again, there'll be pictures. The glossy accents make the eyes look a lot better because they'll be all nice and glossy. So that's the other one that I've done. So yeah, I hope you like seeing those. It's been a lot of fun to create these, and it's been wonderful to be sending these out all over the world. It's really been wonderful. So thank you so much, everyone who has ordered from my shop. I really do appreciate it. It really does help with the costs of shipping out prizes and that kind of thing as well. So I guess that's all I have to share with you today. If you're not following me on Instagram and you wish to, my link to my Instagram page is in the description box below, or you can go to www.victorianstudio.com, which will give you links to all my social networks. So it will have links to my blog, the podcast, my shop, Instagram, Pinterest, and the Ravelry page. So if you're not following me on any of those areas and you want to find them, that's probably the best place to start. So it will link all of those areas because I will announce when I'm doing shop updates on Instagram. So if you want to be appraised of when I'm updating the stitch markers and progress keepers in the shop, just follow me on Instagram. So I also wanted to say thank you so very much to sweet Talia and Marlisha over at the Pen, Hook, and Needles podcast. Thank you so much, ladies. They always mention the Harry Potter knit along, and they have been so very kind at promoting my shop as well. So thank you so much, ladies. It's always so very kind of you. You're so very sweet to your fellow podcasters and viewers and your group members. You're always so very caring and thoughtful. So thank you so very much. It's very, very kind of you. So I will record again in about 2 weeks' time. I hope you'll join me again in my Victorian studio for the next episode of the podcast. So until then, thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and hope you'll come back again. So until then, have a wonderful couple of weeks, everyone. Bye-bye.